Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with It's the Interview Series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org. Consequence and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here, for checking out the series. Of course, you know what to do. If you like what you see, what you hear, hit that subscribe button. I put out 3 new interviews every single week, so it's a great way to keep up with all of your favorite artists. And I'm so excited to have him here today, Sugaray Rayford. He's back with a brand new record called Human Decency. Hello.
Hey Kyle, how you doing, brother? To all the listeners, how you guys doing?
Oh man, it's so great to meet you on here. Been hearing you for a handful of years, been seeing what you've been out there doing, been seeing those Grammy nominations and everything that's been going on. Congrats on the new record. Let's start there.
Thank you, and I'll take that on half of me and Eric Corning for the blow because it is definitely a partnership. So I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah. And I know you've been busy out there. What did I just see? You just back from Zurich? Is that right?
Right? Yeah. Well, I was in Switzerland. We had shows with my band in Sierra, Switzerland, up in the Alps, and then later we went down and did some time in Annecy, France, and then back to Basel, Switzerland with the Blues Giants. And I got home. I think it was not last night, but the night before. So I'm still on jet lag. I woke up at 2:30 this morning, so I've been up since 2:30, like just wide awake, like like.
How's that part of the world for you? Like I've never spent any time over there.
None. Oh man, it's like one of the most beautiful places. I would tell you that Switzerland is probably one of the cleanest places you've ever been in your life. You know, I've always make the joke, but it's not a joke. It actually happened to be out smoking my cigar like I always do, and see the cleaning crew, the street cleaning crew, come up and sweep the sidewalks and everything, but actually take tiles and squirt bottles and actually clean off the stop signs and yield signs by hand, not with a power washer, but by hand.
Yeah. Jeez. What we don't have here. That's
Well, I don't know if we need that, but that's pretty like wow, yeah.
right. Right. Do we need that? That's a good point there. Do
Yeah,
we
yeah.
actually need that here?
Do we actually need it? Yeah.
Well, that's Switzerland, Zurich, all that. I know it's a long way from Texas where you grew up. I did want to start a little bit of just kind of backing up. You know, your background because you grew up in Texas and you moved away since then in California. What was the story of being in Texas and finding the blues eventually? Because I know that's not where what you found originally.
Yeah,
Is
I
that right?
mean, like a lot of people, we grew up in literally abject poverty, basically homeless. I know that at one point, one of my uncles or great uncles maybe let us have a house that was a condemned house where he used to keep his trucks. We lived there with no running water. I remember uh, taking baths outside with the water hose and all that kind of stuff. Man, we ain't about 1955 or 1940s. This is
Right.
the early 70s. So, but gospel or to an even larger sense, music. Period. So, my mother was a great singer, bless her soul. It was always amazing. The few times I remember her singing, that I would just look around and see the power that her voice had to shake people's perception and lives for 30, 40 minutes at a time. That power was amazing. And then I always loved to dance, and so I was a break dancer and all this. It's always funny because I always tell people I remember meeting Vanilla Ice before he was Vanilla Ice.
Oh
his,
wow.
his mother, they had somebody moved to Texas. I think his mother was a teacher in Chapel Hill, and I used to run a breakdancing class at the YMCA, and he came in a couple of times, and had opportunity to go to Star Search. But my cousin chickened out at the last minute. Didn't realize that was the first time I ever realized that people got stage fright. And but no, it was great, or as great as it could be. We made the best of it. And when my mother passed when I was 10, but I personally had always lived off the lawn with my grandmother. So my grandmother was, without any disrespect, was more my mother than my mother was. And when she passed away, my brothers and I all three of us, we moved in with our grandmother and kind of church full time and a little stability in life. And by the time I reached 17, 18, I knew I had to do something. And, the way I was just raised, I just don't believe in begging for anything. If, begging is the last of the last of the last resorts. You always got to try to make it on your own. So my way out was I joined the Marine Corps. So after 10 years of that, that's what kind of wound me up in California, because no matter where they sent me in the world, no matter what was going on, when it was over with, for some reason, they always shipped me back to Southern California, which was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. Being in the Marines like that too. And I'll work you into the types of songs that you make because you like to focus on social justice a lot in your songs.
Yes.
You know, there can be that idea of politically the type of person that's part of the armed forces, and that's a stereotype. And what I get from your music doesn't line up with that stereotype. We're
You
talking.
know, it's kind of weird. I mean, I know where you're going, and it's very weird for me. You know, other than officers, it's always weird if I meet enlisted guys like myself who feel that way, because most of us come from very poor backgrounds, and we are in the lack of having a better term, self-made men and women. Uh, you know, the American military is an all volunteer force. You know, you're not drafted, so people volunteer to go in for whatever reasons they go in. Some people it's patriotic. Some people it's a family tradition. Some people like me, it was a means to an end. I knew that joining the service, that I would get 3 hots and a cot. I didn't have to worry about clothes and everything for at least 4 years. Now, after joining, you get quite a bit of patriotism and camaraderie from the people you with. But that, you know, being real, that was the reason I went in. That's not the reason I stayed in. Like I said, once you're in for a while. But having said that, I was just always raised that people are people. My grandmother raised me, and I've always said my grandmother, as far as I know, never had a quote unquote racist bone in her body. She didn't care if you was black, white, purple, or green. If you were an asshole, you're an asshole. If you're a good person, you're a good person. And I hope that I didn't get out of line by saying that on your podcast.
Not at all.
You know, and that's the way I was raised. So I don't really go in. I'm not saying that I'm colorblind. There's no such thing on this planet as being colorblind. That's full of crap. I know that you're a white man. You know that I'm a black man, or you're a Latino, or whatever. I will say that doesn't shape the way that I look at you. What shapes the way that I look at you is if after I spend time with you, whether or not you're a good person or not, and whether or not, you know, a book I read from my wife a long time ago. It's a little book with a long title, and it says, "The people around you, do they empty your bucket or do they fill your bucket?" I try to keep myself with people that fill my bucket. And so that's kind of where my whole mentality has always come from and been. And I'm at that age where I don't really give a damn what people think. I'm going to say what I got to say. You can listen or not listen.
Well, that's it. That's it. Because what you're saying in these songs, like these are big talk. They're, let me say, it's very fun because it's a very fun album. You made this very fun music. But when you pull back that layer, right? When you peel it back, like you're getting into some deep stuff here. That's
Well, you
not
know,
an easy trick to pull off.
I love what Prince always did. Prince always did it. You know, I call my little sister my wife's best friend for 30 plus years. She's a huge Prince fan. I mean, my God, she's probably been like 10 or 12 Prince concerts in her life. And some years back before COVID, we were sitting in her house. She lives in San Francisco. She's literally on the corner of Hayden and Ashbury. She's on
Wow.
8 Pierce. Yeah, great place. Anyway, we were in the living room one time and we listened to some Prince stuff and we're singing and I'm doing the lyrics and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, what did he just say? And I'm like, you own the vinyl. My God, you've owned this vinyl for 20 plus years, you know. But she had never really listened to the lyrics. She listened to the lyrics, but not really. And I was like, huh. And this is the person that spent thousands of dollars to see this artist. What's going on there? Then I realized, you know, because at that time I was just doing straight blues, just straight ahead blues, which I still love. I'm a blues man in heart and soul, and I will be. But I realized, like, I really like this idea of rapping really hearty or really heady topics into really, really groovy music because you're getting a twofold. So yes, people are out dancing and shaking what their mama gave them, but if they happen to be home one day sitting by themselves, sipping on a little cognac, smoking a cigar, and just sitting there, you're letting your mind relax, and then you start listening to like, whoa, 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 what did he just say? You know, that's to me is great music. Music that every time you listen to it, you hear something different. And I wanted to make sure that there's something that the difference that you heard is always be trying to galvanize people together. I really am against this whole, and people get so caught up, you know, when you're young, even older, you get so baptized or ideologized is not really a word, or culturalized into a way of thinking and not realizing that in America, this is a capitalist country. I love this country. I fought for this country. I bled for this country. But you also have to be real enough to realize that there's only one color in America, and that's green, whether you're black, white, or purple. And people got to realize that all of us poor people, the rich, whether they're black, white, green, whatever, really could give a flying flip. What the only thing keep us, you know, we're still the most economic base if we ever got together. The rich, that's not lost on the rich, but it is lost on the poor. So it has always been a thing of divide and conquer. As long as you can keep poor white folks thinking that they're better than poor black folks, or poor black folks thinking they're better than poor Latinos, or whichever way around, then you'll never have them where they're actually going to get together and really accomplish anything. And then that means that you over here can do whatever the hell you want to do.
Right.
And it is that way. And so my whole thought has always been like, wake the hell up, people. You know, it doesn't matter what color you are. How much green do you have in your pocket? Really? I mean, yes, it may be some things where you have the money and the old boy network may keep you out because you're black or white, but you could always go and start your own if you have enough economic resources. So the only real color in America is green.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, you were saying that, and I was thinking of Prince's song America from Around the World in a Day, which kind of says all that with a great beat on top of it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a failing upwards, human decency, dirty rat.
Failing upwards,
Yeah.
just like the CEO of Boeing, really, this is not just an American thing. Again, this is a world thing, but it's the same thing. Like you screwed this up and you leaving with a golden parachute. So let me understand this. Let me break this down in layman terms. So you messed up the job and you're allowed to quit, and we're gonna make you rich after you screwed up. Failing upwards.
Time again.
Failing upwards.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if it was you and I, if we'd be lucky if we got a severance pay, usually it's just a couple weeks of pay and, wait for your insurance to run out and then try to figure it out through Cobra or whomever else. But anyway, yeah, and so Eric and I both, we're just we're kind of pulling we're pulling the scab off of these things, but we're trying to do it as surgically as possible because I think people have been beat up enough. So our thought is just give them great music, and then if it's 3 weeks later and they're really sitting down and listen to the lyrics, it's also a bomb also. It's not like we're reinventing the wheel. It's just trying to wrap it in something that sugar and castor oil. So
Yeah. Well, I do love how you do it. Like I said, for all the reasons that you've said it, to lay back and enjoy it and have fun, and then to kind of dig into that. And again, I just keep looking at that, like, ain't that a man? Another great moments, that of the stuff that we're talking about. And then there, some sexy jams on there too, just for a little bit of the balance with the hanky panky.
You got to have some balance, man.
I think I appreciate those just as much as the other ones.
Well, when Eric brought me Hanky Panky, I was kind of like, okay. But the more and more I listen to it, the more and more I say, oh, okay, all right. Maybe it does have a place on this album.
Yeah.
And Eric Horn, the whole reason that I signed with Eric was to do things differently. And because, like I said before that, all the albums have been strictly hit blues stuff. All my albums. I did a lot of guesting on a lot of different things, but all my albums. And I had just finished that album with The World We Live in 2017 with the members from the Terry Roy family and the Daptone guys, some of those guys, the bass player and whatnot. And I really loved that. I'd always loved that soulful thing. And I was like, man, the blues used to have all these great soul singers. People would call them soul singer, but they were blues guys. So, the Bobby Blands, the Obi Wrights, the Tyrone Davises, the blah, blah, blah. Like, where's this music gone? Pretty much the blues has become Southern rock. I mean, no disrespect, it is what it is. You have that generation from the 60s and 70s that grew up rock, that discovered blues that way, and they are the generation that's out there buying the material. But I have told Eric as well, I've told a lot of people, I think my calling right now is to bring the soul and that gospel feel back to the blues and to soul music, because soul music is almost, we had a little resurgence up there for a while with the Erykah Badu's and the Jill Scotts and the D'Angelo's and the Music Soul Childs and a few, they call it neo soul, but then it kind of just died again. But I'm like, dude, there's always an audience for soul and soul blues. There's always, that's the reason why it keeps coming back, is because it's just, when it's done right, it's great music.
It's also interesting for you, for as long as you've been doing it too, to find a new voice and for that to suddenly be the dominant voice for you. Like, that doesn't really happen a lot of times with a lot of artists. By this point, somebody's settled, they know what their tool belt carries.
I don't want to, I never want to be quote unquote pigeon, but I think having 17, 18 years of not doing music really helped me, forgive me for searching for the word, but it helped me kind of not pigeonhole myself, because when I came back into music, I was a bouncer and bodyguard with my own business and all that, and I was working at a rock club that I also was doing dance music. And then, I started. My first band was a soul funk band, like a cover band or tribute band, sort of speaking. That was very successful in the San Diego area, but I was longing for that gospel, that feel I used to get with gospel, that I just couldn't get with other things. And then that's how I kind of slipped into the blues world and been in the blues world for a while and been very blessed and very lucky with the things that happened. But that feeling of that soul gospel thing, I never left. So, after doing that Where We Living album in Rome, it really rekindled. I just at the time was like, I just don't want to go back and do another 145, whether it be Chicago Delta, West Coast swing. I really want to do something with some real chord changes and speak on some things and talk. And I'm sorry if I'm getting long winded. I don't know how much time we have, but I had just came up a world tour. I think we had been out 7 or 8 months, and I landed in Memphis. I didn't even go home because it was a Blues Music Awards, and I had promised the president and a few other people that I would definitely come through, and I blah blah blah. And I remember sitting on the corner, dressed to the nines, full suit and everything, in front of the Orpheum Theater there off in Memphis, getting ready to go in because my buddy Del Toro Richardson had invited me, like, Ray, you here? Come up and do a couple numbers with me, and blah blah. I'm like, okay, cool. But my wife and I were standing there on the corner, and I was just exhausted. Like the jet lag had just, I got bags on my side, but the jet lag had just hit me hard. And I looked at my wife, I'm like, babe, I know we already dressed up and everything. I just want to go back to the room and crash. And she was like, yeah, me too. And just at that time, my booking agent came up and said, hey, what's going on? You go come in? I was like, nah, man. He's like, you dressed? I'm like, I'm dressed. I said, but I got nothing left, man. He said, what are you about to do? We're about to bounce and head back to the room and sleep it off, and we'll come out tomorrow and make a fair run in it. And that's when he said, well, got this guy that want to meet you. And I'm just like, dude, come on, man. He's like, yeah, this guy, Eric Corn, dude, he's out of LA. And so that's how I met Eric Corn. And so Eric started talking business, and I'm like, dude, whoa, 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 whoa. My wife is my manager. You can talk to her. And the rest, as they say, so far has been history. This is our third album, and he really gets me. And the biggest thing for me is I told Eric that I wanted to break out of my everyday quote unquote mold. So I'm giving you carte blanche to do whatever. And he's like, but no, I want you to tell me if it's bad or good. I said, yeah, well, that's the whole problem is I don't want to know if it's bad or good. I just want to go out and sing it. And I just have this rule that I don't sing anything that I don't believe is true or I haven't lived. And I've been lucky enough that all the albums I've done have been anything from my diary or things that I've actually lived. And that goes back to my gospel days where we were always taught that you can sing a lie just as easy as you can tell a lie. And so anyway, now, yeah. I don't know if I can answer the question. I went way over to the left.
No. You definitely answered every bit of that. And I also want to let you talk about the people you're playing with too, because I mean, there's some great names on here.
Yeah. Well, you got Taraz, you got Rick Holstrom, you got Sasha Smith, you got my keyboard player Drake Shine, Robert Shine, and my guy Amon, and there's as well as Piner and all those guys I've known for a while. You're a pretty good friend with Jimmy Favino and all those guys from that show. And so it's been a blessing. And before, with my own band, like on the first two albums, I used my old horn section, which was the Amy Winehouse old horn section. They were my guys. And, since the pandemic, I've switched it up, but I still do some work with them all the way over in London. I'm glad that Eric allowed that to happen. But this album, Eric kept that, he's got his core guys that he used, and I love those guys. Matt, most of those guys I already knew because, the music were really small, so we already knew each other. So, and they worked a lot with Eric, and that makes it easier for the producer. It makes it easier for me, and they play their asses off.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you see the Amy Winehouse movie? No, I haven't.
No, I did not.
I haven't seen that.
No, I have not seen it. No.
Yeah.
But I have enough of the inside stories, having those guys in the bands and, messing around. And like I said,
you don't need to see the movie.
No, well, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I got you. So the tour happens throughout the year. You're going to close it with 2 nights in Vegas before Americana Fest.
If you say so.
Well, right. That's what's posted anyway. That's
and they keep adding dates, and I'm just like, I don't even look. because I get too anxious and too like I don't even look. Like when it's time, put the ticket in my hand, I'll go where
You
we go
show
from
up
there.
where it's outside of that though. What's this I saw that you're included on the Lowell George tribute?
Man, that was great, man. Again, Eric Cohen, man, the producer extraordinaire. I love that guy, dude. Not only that, he's a freaking wordsmith, but he's well connected. And Eric is one of those guys everybody likes. And so he called me up and just said, "Hey, man, my buddy, a buddy of mine, big name producer, and forgive me because I can't call his name right now, but he's putting together this Little Feat tribute." And I'm like, "Oh, I actually used to know one of the guitar players from Little Feat from back in the day, and blah 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 and blah blah blah." Next thing I know, they're like, "Well, they want you to come in and do a track," and I'm like, "Man, I'd be honored." The fact that they would even think of me, a blues cat, but got in there. We did Feast Don't Fail Me Now. If you can find it, I actually think I did a pretty good job, but it was great, man. And again, it's nice not to be pigeonholed. It's nice to be able to do different projects, I think. And I'm really proud that they did that. And then there's another one coming out. There's another one coming out that is for Bill Withers.
Oh
And
wow.
Elvis Costello is on that one. Mr. Gatson is on that. There's a lot of big names on there, and I'm doing a Bill Withers song on that album that he never. How do you put this? He performed it once at Carnegie Hall, and that's
I
the only
can't
place
write left-handed. Well, that's what I remember from Carnegie Hall.
it could be, but it was never on any of his albums, and I'm
Yeah.
doing that song on that tribute. So yeah, it's been really cool.
Wow, man, I can't wait to hear all that, and I'm looking forward to hearing the "If You Don't Fail Me Now." I mean, that's one of the great songs of all time, right there.
It
So,
is, I think so, and the fact that they left it for me, I was like, okay, yeah, I do.
yeah,
I say even I know that one. Like,
right on, man. Well, congratulations on this record again. Seriously, and all the accolades that's come for you. It's been so great to kind of see that. I'm hoping to catch one of these live shows too. And thanks so much for taking the time to talk about it.
well, no, Kyle, thank you, brother. I appreciate it very, very much. And to all you listeners out there, remember, life is short. Go dance, have fun. You never know when it's going to end.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.